I think we're good. I think we're live. Welcome to Evil Dojo. I'm your host, Dark Mage 666. For those who don't know, we stay on the grind at all times, even while we're taking it easy. Faux cheesy, keeping it sleazy. Easy peasy, Febreze. Pay me, motherfuckers. We got some good dev plans today. We're going to implement some basic / new features into ASCII Shade. We're going to watch a little $1 Million Extreme, some classic Charles, and some I came across a video he did recently that I wanted to watch the entirety with you guys on. This is good vibes, good inspiration for getting the morning going here. I'm going to let everyone know that we're live, and while I do that, I'm going to play some music for you guys. I've selected what I believe to be my best works that were clearly better than others. My favorite works, starting from the beginning. Show will be live shortly.
Whispers. I see you moan, and I can feel you quiver. Cry louder, bitch. I only speak in whispers. I see you moan. Cry louder, bitch. I only speak in whispers. I see you moan, and I can feel you quiver. Cry louder, bitch. I only speak in whispers. I see you moan. Cry louder, bitch. Bitch, I only speak in whispers. I see you moan, and I can feel you quiver. Cry louder, bitch. I only speak in whispers. I see you moan. Cry louder, bitch. Cry louder, bitch. Intellect. December 21st, Infinite Novelty. Crafting up codes, defining my reality. Never gonna finish writing, that is how my novel be. Action reaction, just a lot of causality. Infinite Novelty, December 21st. The start is the end, and the last is the first. You might catch me traveling through the past. It's a blast. I get nasty. Fuck you. I'm a gamma ray burst. Fuck you. I'm a gamma ray burst. Fuck you, I'm a gamma ray burst. I get nasty. I get nasty.
I'm theoretical like tachyon particles. I hit you with diamonds and leave you in sparkles. I'm a demon, I cackles. I'm gonna leave you in shackles. You can't play with my Tetris, you got nothing to stack with. You ain't playing no games, you just high on cracked whips. I ain't got time for fly subs, set up traps. You call yourself a runner, but you ain't running.
They say
no laps.
life is the lesson, so don't let make it a teacher. But there's no I'm a student when I'm really a preacher. I'm boosting up my signal, so my sound will reach you. From the top of your attic to the ground beneath you. In life after death, there might be no conquest. The challenge is now. There's no avoiding this test. In life after death, there might be no conquest. The challenge is now. There's no avoiding this test. I need some more time to write the rest of the story. I'll spare you the details. The process is boring.
If you can't code, your brain is going to explode, rot, corrode, erode, overload, like an electrode. Your whole mind explodes. That's been walking on how many years now on death row? All because you think it would be weird to command your console. So post-mortem, your family, I will console. Shortly before I devour they soul, and they brains and bodies I now's control because everyone's got that missing hole.
Yeah. That's what's up. Indeed. Alright, so back to ASCII Shade, right? Let's see if I can talk while I fucking code. Where do we leave off, right? It's actually in a good state right now. And I did a little bit of refactoring last night. How quickly, like, how can you say speed is not a fucking goal of this project when already, like, even in its current state is, like, already projected to be superior to ASCII Bird. Like, first of all, there's not many IRC ASCII art tools out there. There's just not. Granted, it's not a very big space, but at the same time, it's like, even with normie art tools, there's not that many options, right? So there's certain bugs, right? And actually, we should keep track of these bugs. What should I call this file? Like issues.md? Like Twitch is what happened? Why they do that? Like, I try to go through an effort to like make sure that I'm following the site's terms of service, but sometimes there's things that like a site will decree like behind your back, and then they'll send you an email, and then you don't check your email, and then you go live or something, and somehow the ball gets dropped, right? But resizing the screen, like breaks, rendering. So there's our issues file, right? I don't know that that's the file that I should be doing that in, but it's whatever. At some point I want to like write a markdown generation tool for blogging, because then I'll be able to like auto generate pages, and then you can have like an AI that just builds web pages. And like that's not very far away from where I'm currently at, like right now. So it's not infeasible to think that you could like use ChatGPT and Copilot in tandem to just automatically build web pages. I've attempted to even get like AI to do like CSS styling, and the problem there is like getting an AI to understand a sense of like appropriate color choice. And it keeps coming back down to color choices, right? Like so many different angles and aspects that you have to consider. And it doesn't help that I suffer from red-green color blindness, like on a partial level. So the things that I look at are different than like what people look at with normal eyes. For everything that's outside of the red-green like color spectrum, it's really no problem. But like if you start overlaying red on top of green and vice versa, it starts to really hurt my eyes, especially if they are specific shades of red and green. I remember there was this one game on the Nintendo Wii or the GameCube, one of those two consoles. It was a puzzle game, and it had like hexagonal tiles, and the initial colors that they started off with were so bad. Like, I couldn't look at the screen without my eyes watering. It was crazy. So even like as a technical developer, like once you get past like the hard parts of syntax and the hard parts of like system design, you still have to kind of wrap your brain around like a problem that you're trying to solve. And this often means that you have to acquire knowledge outside of computers in order to do this. Being aware of things like color spaces in the art department, for instance. Well, I haven't directly worked with composite outside with just like plugging in cables into the back of my TV for old video games. There's like this idea that a transformation is occurring when you go from incurses to IRC, right? So in its current state, ASCII shade is actually able to make real ASCIIs are real. So we're able to create real ASCIIs really fast, potentially, right? And that's one of the major goals, is that ASCII shade can be potentially a plugin to some sort of AI service that can issue it commands and be able to get a feedback loop going of perpetual machine generated art. And not like those stupid like fucking paintings and like, you know, all these crazy ultra detailed, you know, real images that the AIs are generating. No, I want to generate pixel art and ASCIIs using these AIs, and I currently don't see very many good systems to do this, but I haven't wanted to like go out of my way to like build an LLM to do this, because generating pixel art can be described using a language a lot more easily than it can be used to like describe a painting. The prompts that they use, like for instance, if I issue a prompt to like Midjourney, that same prompt can generate multiple different images, right? But templatizing and giving an artificial intelligence the ability to not only generate beautiful art, but also embed text and actually begin to intermingle. Because one thing that you'll notice is that a lot of these art systems are not really capable of generating real language inside of the images themselves. Like if you ask a system like Midjourney to generate like a logo, and I've actually talked with Frederick Brennan about this over Twitter, that these systems are highly specialized to do certain things, and when you try to ask it to deviate outside of those parameters is when you're actually going to experience the kind of like wonkiness and the like imperfections of the system, right? So to do something a little bit more ground level, right? Because these systems, like I said, are highly specialized. We want to create like an interface to an AI that operates on a language basis, such as like ChatGPT, and be able to issue instructions that allow it to generate instructions that can be then fed back into something like an ASCII editor in order to generate ASCIIs. But before we can get there, I need a sufficient editor that a human can use. There's a lot of different ways to go about doing all of this. And so we could have an AI that generates like the ASCIIs directly without actually issuing instructions, but then you're specializing it to work with like one file format, like one specialization. So part of today's goal is to change the way on a fundamental level how we're actually drawing at the moment and how we're rendering. So what I mean by this is currently I'm actually like directly painting to the window itself. So this is like if you think of like standard in and standard out and standard error, like your different input interfaces, your standard I/O, I should say. Incursus has something equivalent called standard screen. And I'm actually drawing directly to standard screen right now. So in order to actually write this ASCII out to a file, when I hit the S command, it crashes because I didn't give it a file name. Fuck. So if I give it a file name, and this is actually one of the bugs I have to fix today. So if I save that, and actually I don't want the 43 by 94. I want a much smaller palette. So I don't even know what I'm drawing right now. I'm just kind of just going with the flow, right? So that's one of the beauty things about this system is how quickly I'm able to like just experiment with something. I don't even have an ability to erase elements though at the moment, and I don't want to like start hacking things into the system so that like I'm just like pulling directly from standard screen all the time. It actually is making it. I had to come up with a hack in order to like place the blocks on the screen, as well as grab the color information in the situation where the primary character at a location is a block or something like that. So part of the motivation for doing the canvas change is that I'll no longer have to directly reference what's on the screen so much in order to manipulate the canvas. So what we're going to actually seek to do is in the bottom right hand you see a 29 by 59, right? That has to do with the size of the screen at the moment. So if interesting, oh god, what is wrong? Can I like reset? What the hell's going on there? There we go. Okay. Yeah, terminal resizes are like a big kind of funky thing, and I haven't like tried to fuck with getting into a feedback loop where I'm like perpetually checking to see if the user's resized the screen, because that would be fucking annoying to deal with. And the primary use case scenario is that you resize your screen before you actually start doing stuff. So that's a big motivation here, right? Let's see. There we go. Yeah. Resizing the screen. I need to be able to pull my my logo up. So part of the motivation, like I said, is the way that we're currently writing to the screen. Like for instance, if we go to add block, we're actually directly putting a character on the screen and attempting to use the Incursus standard screen as the canvas itself. But this has proved to be annoying, having to grab things the way that I'm doing. It would be more useful to have the canvas information in a separate like storage location and then be able to pull from that whenever I need to like render to the screen or write to a file. Because currently, rendering to the screen, I'm literally adding strings to the standard screen window. With a canvas go-between, I'll be able to very quickly access and manipulate information without having to do kind of weird-ass things like, let me give you an example of what's weird-ass. So here's the inner loop of the save function, which I pulled out into its own function recently. Because as you can see, the innermost loop has a lot of shit here, right? We have to keep track of the previous color and the previous background color as we're going along, because every time you write out a individual block or a character to the file, you could turn on the color codes again for it in IRC. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, in the IRC ASCII file format, you have these control codes that allow you to place colored blocks and characters. But when you have multiple characters in sequence that share the same color codes, you don't need to actually change the color attribution. So if the color changed, I actually write out like new color codes and then the character along with it. But if the color didn't change, then we just write the character out itself. And this actually allows for the file format to kind of be a little bit more compressed per line. Otherwise, you're limited to so many characters in an IRC message before your string gets new lined automatically by the server. So if you want to keep your ASCII image within a certain length, then you have to make sure that what you're actually writing out fits into that size. Let's see. So we're talking about doing this canvas thing, right? We're going to check on a new branch called Canvas. Wizard notices that he is getting hungry. Thankfully, I have a Snickers in the fridge, as well as a Monster and a coffee that I'm drinking. Grandma's taking a nap right now. Let's see. No, she has disappeared off camera. I'm gonna go check on her real quick. Let's see, we got music.
Yeah. It's video game time, bitches.
AfterTouchBeats.com.
The geeky one is here. The freaky one be near. Grab onto the wheel, try to steer. Do you know what I like to do when I get bored? Plug in my cord and destroy the head grave lord, wielding my undead Slayer plus 15th grade sword. That costs more time, money, and energy than you can even afford. Don't ask me why I did it for the horde. I can tell that I made you a little bit butt sore. You're probably like, what's this old whitey dissing me for? I'm blocking his ass now, won't see him anymore. What's wrong, bitch? You looking kinda scared. I can tell you're still asleep, you ain't even prepared for internet hate. You can't equate why I dared. I'm a grand total summation of your worst nightmares. My magic points are full.
Okay, everything's fine. Everything's fine. She's just asleep. Alright, so getting back to a task at hand, we are going to work on the canvas. So this canvas situation, right? So for every location in the canvas, we have a character that could be a wide character, and we also have colors, 2 color codes. And we could immediately like write out like what the color codes are for the export formats too. So here it's not clear what's actually being stored, right? Like it just appears like we're just placing a block. However, I'm going to go to write out. You see that we have to do this kind of weird thing where we pass in the standard screen and a XY location, and then we store in this weird character format called CHART the actual contents of that grab, because this contains more than just the actual character. It contains also the color of the character itself, like the foreground color, as well as the background color, which is what we need. Also any styling information like bold or italics too, because certain terminals offer that as well. So like for instance, here we actually grab the character, which could be a wide character. Gotcha, Pluto. I hear that. So, based off of this, our data type that we're going to create a like an individual cell in a canvas as like a struct. So we're going to do something like type def struct, and it's going to be like canvas pixel. And inside of it, like, there won't necessarily be any location information, no. We're not going to store CHRT though. We're going to store WCHRT. Huh. Always check everything. I don't think I've closed the shutter on mine. You know, one of the problems with these baby monitors is every so often the wireless connection dips out. Even though I never move it really, it'll just all of a sudden lose connection for some reason. So the only reason that I can imagine that it's doing this is some sort of light electronic interference as a result of wind outside. Huh. Like, if I had the money, Pluto, I thought it'd be really cool to just set up a farm, like a mining farm, right? Like, I'd know how to do that. You know, it's not just a question of power usage. It's also a question of, like, how much, what's the word I'm looking for? How much wear and tear does light everyday mining do to a average computer? Like, your computer's like your CPU's already running anyway, right? Like, how much degradation does, like, one hash actually really generate? Like, when a CPU fails over time, what about it is failing? You know? I understand for sure with RAM writes, and yeah, you could say CPU cache too. Over time, the read and write capacity will fail, just like a hard drive. But I think about things like this. Like, a friend of mine in college who introduced me to Debian bought a laptop off of Newegg, and there was a fracture in the CPU. I forget how he detected it or how he found it, but he returned it. They shipped him one again, like a second machine. And the second machine, too, had the same fracture. The same kind of fault line thingy. I don't know how he found it. But the chances of him getting the first one were like 1 in a million or something like that, right? So the chances of him getting 2 laptops back to back, what does this say about like all CPUs in general? Or assuming a CPU is properly made and doesn't have the fracture, how hot and fast can you run it before it shits a brick? I mean, I've certainly pushed CPUs so hot that my machine shut down. Like the BIOS auto thing kicked in because it was too hot or whatever. But like, even what about like under proper cooling? You know, like assuming that you can push your thing, how long can you push it? Because people always do speed tests based off of, or like, you know, CPU overclocking challenges based off of like how fast they can make it run, but nobody ever makes a focus on like for how long. It's always just like a peak speed thing and never like a sustained duration and like material strength over time perspective. It would be really cool if we had like a machine that as you ran it, it got stronger and faster. So if all we need is a character and a foreground color and a background color, where would I want to put this? Maybe up top? Yeah. So now we have something called a canvas pixel type, right? So if I were to define a canvas, this would be a canvas of 1024 by 1024. This is too big. I want it to conform to the size of the window as it is loaded in the moment. So now we have a double pointer to a canvas, or rather a double pointer to a canvas pixel type. This will be the base canvas, but before we can even have a canvas, we have to create it. Pluto, I noticed you're not shitting up the fact that I'm using Copilot right now. What gives? I thought you were like anti AI doing work, or anti. You're something anti AI, right? Like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, you know about ChatGPT, right? So, Copilot's, I believe, based off of the same model or the same technology. One of the really nice things about it is, as I'm typing code, I can like just start typing text and it'll autocomplete, and it does a best guess in the same way that like ChatGPT does. So if I start typing the word plutonium 0 0 0, weapons grade plutonium is a material that is fissile enough to be used in a nuclear weapon. It is the primary fissile isotope used for the primary stages of nuclear war. Weapons grade plutonium is defined as plutonium that is sufficiently pure to be used in a nuclear weapon. The purity needed for weapons grade plutonium has been defined differently by different experts. Well, I'm not typing it myself. This is, I'm just reading what it's generating. So I tried to like prompt it by starting with the words weapon grade plutonium, but the idea is, well, yeah, you still have to provide some input. It's not like an auto system. It's very good autocomplete, but it's better than just like basic autocomplete. It's able to do a lot of basic pattern matching and intention seeking. So like it generated like all of this code right here for me just by me typing the word init canvas. So there's the declaration for the function. Instead of malloc, we're going to do calloc. So yeah, what ends up happening is like Copilot generates a lot of the code for me, and then I go through the code it generates and I kind of tweak it or correct it or kind of evaluate it to make sure that it like makes sense. And this generally makes sense, but like most people don't know about calloc. I found it's not the one that they teach first, and it really should be. Let's see, is if you do man calloc, number of members and then the size of each member. So that would be canvas width, comma, and then size of pixel type. So same thing here. So like it auto-completed with malloc, but I'm changing it to calloc, right? So in my opinion, this makes more sense because calloc will actually perform the operation of B0 or mem set 0 upon the entire space. So this is kind of useful because now you don't have anything to worry about like not checking if it hasn't been initialized because everything's been kind of zeroed out. Very useful. We make sure that canvas is at least 1, 1, which Yeah, if my program works properly, you should be able to make an ASCII of size 1, right? We're going to move this function down to the very bottom. You'll have to forgive me if my Texas comes out. My Texas comes out. So init canvas has been created. So in init program, yeah, once we init max y, see Copilot was just able to figure out that we need to initialize the canvas based off the fact that I just wrote a function and it just wrote a function that we need to initialize the canvas. And now it's calling that function with variables that it thinks we need to pass in. In this case, max xx and max xy. Sorry, max y. Sorry, max x and max y. So it's not just autocomplete. Like, it actually is able to infer, assuming that the code that you've written is totally sane, and I've not like tried to go out of my way to like try and fool it, because I think that would be kind of a weird against the grain exercise, which might do in the future, but it's been very impressive and time saving. Like, I've gotten more coding done since I've started using Copilot and ChatGPT in such a short time frame than I had done in a long time before that. And actually having the help is going to make getting a lot of projects actually done, completed, so much easier. I thought I've described it as just, really advanced autocomplete from the perspective of like accessibility. I only have 6 fingers to type with, so it's kind of like helpful in that regard. But I'm not stupid enough to like trust everything that comes out of its mouth, right? Like, it has to be vetted. You have to actually check what it's generating. You can start getting really good at checking it, and then that process becomes faster. But there still has to be the human oversight component. You don't want to do anything in such a way as that even if you come up with a fully automated system, that there's no bounds checking to prevent it from going literally off the rails. It really is not infeasible that some automated system out there is doing something very potentially heinous or working to do something potentially heinous in the security department. One of my own dreams has been to come up with a automated like hacker, bot type system, and there's a lot of attempts to do this already that other people have done. But there is something kind of fundamental. It's like Copilot has a direct connection with my brain and is annoyed that it's taking me so long to type out. Yeah, for real. But at the same time, like, I've had Copilot recommend to me like really stupid suggestions where it just straight up like, why did you even generate that type stuff? And we might even run into some of that today. Let's see. All right, so we just did init canvas, right? So now in add block, not only are we gonna at the moment do the move add string, because we're gonna separate out like adding the blocks into the canvas themselves, or rather adding characters to the canvas, along with like for instance right here, add the block to the canvas. Canvas of xy.character equals that, and it was able to generate that based off the comment that I wrote here, based off of the code that I have. It was just able to dump that out, and I find that just fucking amazing and impressive. So I'm doing this in two phases, right? So here's add block, and then there's the save to disk component where we actually go through each character. But we also want to store here, store the color component. So it's doing canvas yx dot foreground color, get foreground color, and I actually have a function for that because I have an array that, let's see, let me mark my position, MA. There is a color array that I create. What this does, so this is in define color pairs. So over here, we call a knit pair, which is a incurses function, to actually assign a foreground color and background color to a color pair. You can actually have a lot of color pairs in incurses, and at some point this program will support beyond the basic 16 that IRC advertises. I believe IRC, IRSSI supports up to like 99, maybe even more than that. But in the color array, we're setting the foreground color and the background color to the color array based off the current color pair. So if we ever need to do like reverse conversion between like what the current color pair is and what color pairs, like what colors that color pair number corresponds to, then we're able to do this back and forth very easily just by storing those values in a color array. It ends up being you're storing 32K worth of data doing this, but it ends up being very useful. I think I had to do it this way for some reason. I forget why. No. So we're actually not even storing the full amount, right? Like, so like, for instance, if I were to build multi-character constant, so this is an error that Copilot made that I allowed it to make. We actually have to use double quotes. Oh no. I think I have to do L? Like that? Oh no. Oh no. I'm running into the wall a little bit. Okay, so maybe we can do it this way. Nope. W-char T, right? Oh. Character.chars of 0. So I wonder if I can tell it the above line does not work. So we use this instead. That one didn't work either. I'm tired of fighting in curses. Now this is actually where the fun of Copilot kind of comes in. Like, so I'm leaving it. Oh my god! Like adding a save function and a load function, add a color picker, add a color palette. Someone is just like oh. Very upset. A color palette editor. See, this is the kind of crazy shit that I was talking about. It's gotten stuck in a loop, so I'm gonna stop it from doing that. That fucking was funny as fuck, though. That shit was hilarious. Alright, what happens if I do this? Okay, yes. Doesn't work that way. Okay, so because I'm not exactly sure, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. Let's fucking go. And see, how do I assign a character to the wchar_t data type? Okay. Oh, it's L and then single quotes. Okay. Okay, watch this. We got it. Okay. So alright, so we got those two lines down now. Alright, it compiles. So that's a great start, right? So whenever you add the character and the color components to the individual pixel, this is great because now when we go to actually export like what's actually on the canvas, we can just grab it directly from the canvas instead. So I'm going to put a note here. This will soon go away once we have a function to render the canvas. That way we don't have to write directly to the standard screen. Let's go ahead and commit that. let's take a look at what our changes are. So we added the new type. Oh, wait. When we're done with the program, we need to free the canvas. Duh. And see, it's very important to free your memory. We could do this as a function real quick. Okay, now we're going to move it to the very bottom. Now we're going to replace this with free canvas, and then we can make run boom. So when it ends when, we can do printf freeing the canvas memory. Boom. So there was like a little bit of feedback. So we're storing the block in the canvas, and we create the canvas and free the canvas. Created the canvas pixel type structure, the canvas double pointer. We are writing. We're adding blocks to the canvas, and we are freeing the canvas on quit. Let's see. About time to take my grandma's dog out to pee, but they're still asleep. She's an old gal. My grandma's dog is like 13, 14, 15 years old or so. Still kicking somehow. Probably because of all the times I've carried her outside. But I love her. She's been there since the beginning of my web development career, and I'm pretty grateful that she's still with us. She's great. One of the best dogs ever. Just like Hanky. There, we can actually move that into here. I could be using imprint if I really wanted to. Like, whenever there's a bug or something, I could start doing that, but we haven't yet gotten to that point. When you go to handle save, oh, you have a canvas width and a canvas height now. Yeah, we do. So actually, those are already set for us, so we no longer have to have the local version. And then we can now, instead of grabbing characters from standard screen and having you do all this shit on the fly, we can just fucking render from the canvas. You can actually turn Copilot off rather easily. Alright, so IRC foreground color, we still convert. We still track if the color changes. If color changed, we do this, else we do that, and then we do that. All right, we're gonna make the screen much bigger. And we're gonna get blasphemous. Whoops. Whoa. Corrupted top size. I'm gonna have to investigate what that's all about. Let's see. do. Oops, I fucked that up. Yeah, let's do multicolors. It is Pride Month, I think. I'm already getting ideas for a macro system that would be fucking fire. Be able to very quickly replicate things that you've drawn. Or repeat previous patterns of inputs. One, two, three. All right, so we're going to test out the save function. It didn't crash or anything. That's a good sign. So now we want to rsync test.ascii to my IRC server, or my IRC box, I should say. It's not an IRC server. So now over in pound evil dojo, we're going to exec-o cat tilde/test.ascii. Huh. Okay, that actually didn't save. Huh. Let's see. I guess it didn't save then. Oh, hey, Grandma's awake. Very good. I'll be back shortly. We're going to listen to some music in the meantime.
Yeah. It's video game time, bitches.
AfterTouchBeats.com.
The geeky one is here. The freaky one be near. Grab onto the wheel, try to steer. Do you know what I like to do when I get bored? Plug in my cord and destroy the head grave lord. Wielding my undead slayer plus 15 great sword. That costs more time, money, and energy than you can even afford. Don't ask me why I did it for the horde. I can tell that I made you a little bit butt sore. You're probably like, what's this old whitey dissing me for? I'm blocking his ass now, won't see him anymore. What's wrong, bitch? You looking kinda scared. I can tell you're still asleep, you ain't even prepared for internet hate. You can't equate why I dared. I'm a grand total summation of your worst nightmares. My magic point circle, so it's time to cast flare. For a moment you're blinded, you can't see past the glare. This reality space-time done been ripped, it begins to tear. I know you fucking shit yourself, better check your underwear. Do you like poop? Gross, you're a fecophiliac. Brown crap, nitty gritty, half digested shit is wet. I've said a bunch of fucked up shit, but talent you do not lack. This is just a public service announcement. White girl butt crack, oh shit. He gone and did it. He murdering everyone and he leaving no witness. This is just his flex, a test of genetic fitness. You think his shit is personal, but really it's just business. Now everyone's like, ooh, no he didn't. This disease is so strong, now even Apollo's got the sickness. Better hit the John before your draws get too messed. This is just a reminder of why I'm the motherfucking best. My life is RPG, max level, now I'm on a quest to put a rap game under extreme duress. Including you, Will, I can tell you're stressed. Afraid you will fall to my empirical conquest. Lord of the grave, well I'm lord of all space-time. Uber pirate, ninja wizard, lizard, criminal mastermind. Wanna be a bitch, then call me a bastard, fine. I've got a contract that I know you will definitely sign. Because you probably saw this coming, yeah, I'm fucking Satan. Pretty soon everyone around the world's gonna start hating. Because deep down you know U equals masturbation. I'm just a mathematician and I form these equations.
Everybody, this is Gracie, and that's Gus. Dog family of the Evil Dojo. So I've got the dogs outside right now. I'm just going to hang out with them for a few minutes. I'm going to leave the stream running. When I get back, I need to eat lunch. Actually, maybe now is kind of a good time to take a break from it. ASCII Shade development's going to continue. I'm going to figure out what's up with the save bug here. And see everybody on LRH tonight. I definitely plan on calling in. I haven't spoken since certain things happened, and let y'all know I'm hanging in there. Peace, y'all.